Welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections, a look at issues and happenings on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. Here now is your host, Chad Amond, President and CEO of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce.
Hello and welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections. I'm your host, President of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce, Chad Amond. We are delighted today to have Gabe Monzo. Gabe is the Executive Director of the Westmoreland County Airport Authority. He is on the show to talk about the impact of the airport in the county, both from the economic standpoint, and we're also going to talk about a fun program that maybe you've heard of, the Airshow. Gabe, thanks for being on the show.
Hi, Chad. Nice to be here.
Well, I think that it's always best to kick off the show with understanding a little bit of the guest's background. So, I know you, but and I'm sure a lot of our listeners know you. But just give a little bit of your background information and how did you grow up in the area, and how did you become the executive director of the airport authority?
Well, I grew up right across the street from the airport in Lawson Heights, never thinking that I'd ever work for the airport, but my background was public safety. That was my life. I've been in public safety for 45 years or 40 years, and it's a situation where in the early 80s, the mills were laying off, and that's where I worked at Standard Steel, and I was a pipe fitter, and the airport advertised for a maintenance man / fireman. So I just happened to be one of the firemen that responded to the airport, so I put my application in. I was laid off, my third child on the way, and things just went up after that. They said yes, and I said yes, and the rest is history, 35 years later.
Well, that sounds like a round peg in a round hole, right?
Yeah, that's right. It worked out very well for me, anyhow.
So you've been at the Airport Authority for 20...
I've worked at the airport for 35 years.
35 years. 35 years. Right. Well, and it has progressed so much over those several decades.
Sure has. When I started there, it was a small airport with a couple of hangars and some private airplanes flying around doing their thing, and it's grown quite a bit since then.
Well, and it's obviously because of sound leadership. And obviously you have played a role in that sound leadership, and there have been others. I know that Arnie served on the board for a number of years, and there are other strong board members that. But I think that we want to get into how would you describe Arnold Palmer Regional Airport today, and what is the impact that it has from the entire airport authority countywide?
Well, I think it's a situation where we've transitioned. We've had strong leadership from the Airport Authority from day one. From the first day I walked in the door, I've always been impressed with the people that were chosen to be on the Airport Authority, because they were the shakers and the movers of the industry, and they were the ones that made things happen. Never being afraid to say, hey, we think this is a good idea, let's go with it. But it's a situation where the airport now stands as a medium-sized commercial service airport. And, we're not a hub. Pittsburgh's a small hub now. And we're not a hub, but we provide a service that sort of made its way into the airport business in the past 10 years. It's the ultra-low discount carrier. It's Spirit Airlines for us. There are several of them out there. But it's a situation where we fit a niche, and we're pretty proud of what we've built up so far in the past 10 years.
Yeah. Well, with my role with the chamber,
yeah.
I know some of the stats, and I pat you on the back all the time for the economic impact that the airport has on the county. But tell the listeners some of the, it may be over what was Spirit Airlines took off. Well, I say took off, so, no pun intended, right? Took off several years ago at Arnold Palmer Airport. What has been the impact on the airport and the county since Spirit?
Well, the last economic impact that PennDOT Bureau of Aviation did, it was in 2010. So that was good. And then our impact to the region was about $95 million a year, which was excellent. I mean, that's great numbers. LJ Aviation, Benio Aviation, they were running the show. And it was a situation where, we had a hard time keeping a commuter. Service to Pittsburgh, service to Detroit. And then Spirit showed up on the doorstep in 2010 and started service in 2011. And last year, they estimated our economic impact to the region about $200 million. So that's $100 million. And, you can cut it a lot of different ways. You say, well, that's a lot of fluff and a lot of different things. But there's a lot of things going on at the airport that people really don't know about. The rental cars. The rental cars do $1.5 million worth of business a year. Those are all things that happen. The airport provides services across the board, 24/7. We have Greyhound bus service now. We have Westmoreland Transit service. So, it's all good.
That is probably some things that listeners and the general public probably don't understand, because
right.
What do you call it, reticular activation, right? It's right. You only pay attention to the things that really impact you, but $100 million in increase in economic impact in the county is a huge deal.
Oh, yeah,
that's impacting our hotels. That's impacting our restaurants. That's impacting a lot of different things. And you don't always have to fly from the airport. What other amenities? I guess for the listeners, what other amenities does the airport provide?
Well, you have the D'Annunzio's restaurant, which is always a big draw, and you have the air show. The air show is our primary marketing. We throw all our eggs in one basket, and the air show does things for us that wouldn't normally do. Bring people in from a 3-state area, 5-state area, and show people the airport and show what we have the capability of doing.
You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on Hometown Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. I'm your host, Chad Amond, president of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce. We're talking with Gabe Monzo, who is the executive director of the Westmoreland County Airport Authority. If you want to learn more about the airport, jump on to palmerairport.com. That's palmerairport.com. Gabe, you brought up the air show. The Shop and Save Westmoreland County Airshow is the proper name, I guess, for the Charlie family that's helping to sponsor the air show. Let's dig deeper into the air show. I believe it's going to be Saturday the 28th and the 29th, Sunday the 29th of July. Let's talk about the premier event that the Shop and Save Westmoreland County Airshow provides.
And I'm sure Shop and Save appreciates the mention. But it's like I said, it's our primary marketing tool for the year. We're happy to have Shop and Save as the sponsor, one of our sponsors, and the things that happen at the air show are just, there's a lot of things happening on the tarmac that people don't, people love to tell me, hey, I sit in my yard and watch the airplanes fly over, and we picnic and we tailgate and we do this and we do that. Well, they're missing out on a lot by not coming to the airport. We take great pride in bringing some of the best stuff in the world to the airport. And one example this year, the Berlin Airlift aircraft. Now, it'll be there. It's actually a museum that you walk through. You go up inside the airplane, and the inside of it talks about the Berlin Airlift. And it's history, and it's interesting, though.
So the airplane is actually a museum that the visitors, the attendees, will be able to go into the airplane and see the museum.
That's correct. There's murals in it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful airplane, all restored, and it's a DC-4. It's an old DC-4 4-engine airplane, and we have steps to go up into it, and it's a great thing to look at. But there's a lot of fun things to do too. Shop and Save. They're going to have a 300 horsepower shopping cart there. I don't know, but I like to shop quick, but I think that's a little bit too quick for me.
With 4 kids at home, I think I need that. I need that to shop every week.
But there's other things. Spirit's giving away tickets, air miles, and we did something a few years ago with Spirit that we thought would be kind of interesting because we have to run the Spirit schedule during the air show. So we said, hey, why don't we make let the narrator talk about the turning of the airplane? Because when you're sitting on the tarmac at an international airport and waiting to go, you hear all these bangs and boops and what have you out on the ramp, and you don't know what it is. You think the airplane's falling apart or whatever. Well, he actually narrates what they're doing, how they're doing it, putting bags in, showing the luggage carts and doing things like that. And the kids love it, and the parents learn a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know they did that. I didn't know they did this, but it's all good.
I think I need to attend that because I whenever I fly out of any airport, I usually stop over at the Nunzio's or the bar and have a drink or two. I have to calm myself down. So those bumps and those noises, those are always
still the safest way to travel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. That's the bottom line. Well, let's pump the brakes, or maybe we put the flap up and put the landing gear down. What is the history of the air show? Can you give the listeners some who are the key people that were responsible for starting it and all of those things?
We think, from our best knowledge that we have, back in the early 70s, like 71, 72, Dan Spiel, who flew a Pitts airplane, decided that he was going to put on a show for some people on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. And he went up and did some whoop-de-doos and some barnstorming. And, we had the airmail pickup and different things like that. Not at that time, but we had that airplane sitting there. And it was a situation where the guys brought out their airplanes that had them at the airport, which was all up right across from Kennemeadow corporate headquarters. That was the main deal of the airport. And they brought their airplanes out, and Dan did a couple flips and barrel rolls and Lomshavaks, and that was the air show. And we think it was like 1972.
So that's how it launched.
That's how it started. And, we had a hiatus there after September 11th. And we had a hiatus, and we didn't really think that we were going to get back into air shows because they're tough. And, I talked with our staff, and I said, listen, you guys know this. There's not one person that puts the air show off. I said it takes a group of individuals that are committed and want to do it. And they said, yeah, let's do it. And the rest is history. We started back around 2011, I believe. And with a little Wings and Wheels celebration where we did some snazzy cars and different things, and now we're into a full-blown air show.
We're talking with Gabe Monzo, Executive Director from the Westmoreland County Airport Authority. We're talking in depth about the Shop and Save Westmoreland County Airshow that's going to be held Saturday, July 28th and Sunday, July 29th. You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on Hometown Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. We'll be right back after these messages.
This is Westmoreland Community Connections on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. If you have a suggestion for a topic, or if your nonprofit organization would like to be featured on this program, call us during regular business hours at 724-216-1200.
Welcome back. You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on Hometown Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. I'm your host, Chad Amond, president of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce. Our guest today is Gabe Monzo. Gabe is the executive director of the Westmoreland County Airport Authority. Gabe, before we went to break, we were talking about all kinds of things, but one of the things from my perspective with the chamber is the economic impact of the airport. And you said it's over $200 million of economic impact. How many people are flying on Spirit Airlines? I mean, ish. You don't have to give me the exact number, but you probably have it.
157,000 a year.
157,000 people a year. Yeah. And what was it before? Before Spirit Airlines was?
Well, let me tell you a little story.
Yeah, sure.
There's Essential Air Service. Now that's out there for the smaller airports, for rural airports. And in order to get $1 million in federal money to repair and do repairs at your airport and buy snow removal equipment, you have to have 10,000 what they call enplanement. 10,000 people getting on the airplane and leaving your airport. So they're struggling. They're struggling to make that 10,000 enplanements. The first year that Spirit came on the site, I was used to being in that realm, and I said, listen, I know I didn't have a baggage cart. I didn't have anything to push an airplane with. We didn't have any of that stuff. And I said, we're going to have an outlay of money here. I said, I need that $1 million if we're going to do this type of thing. I said, can you guys guarantee me that we're going to make 10,000 enplanement? They said, Gabe, if we don't make 60,000 enplanements in the first year, we're not staying.
Okay.
I said, oh, okay. So I knew that it was a different class, a different situation that we were in. And you got to, when you're talking about economic impact and the things, you got to see what Spirit brings to the table. They bring, not only that, it's up to about $1.5 million a year in federal subsidies to do our projects. And to give you a great example, we just finished paving the whole airport, everything, and it was about $3.5 million. So normally what we would have done years ago, we're responsible for a local share of that. So you'd take anywhere from 2.5% to 5% that would be on the hook for. So you'd say, say $300,000. So I'd go to the county and I'd say, listen, I need $300,000 for $3.5 million worth of work, which they had no problem, at the time doing, but, times are tough. Right. Things are a little bit, we're trying to be frugal and do the right thing. Well, there's a passenger facility charge. Every time a person gets on the airplane, the airport gets $4.50. So now we have a little bit of backup money that's not allowed to be spent on operation. But we have that money that is allowed to be spent on capital projects. So this year we did $3.5 million worth of project, did $300,000 worth of local share, and PennDOT Bureau of Aviation put in their share. Not one nickel of county money went towards that. And we are extremely proud of that you can get that kind of bang for the buck from having an airline like Spirit. We spend a lot of money on them, don't get me wrong, but it's a situation where what are you getting in return?
Well, I've seen some of those projects, but tell the listeners some of those projects. I mean, when you walk into the airport, it has been enhanced significantly. I mean, even over when you're pulling in, there's the roundabout now. Right. with.
And that wasn't even the airport. So the airport wasn't involved with the roundabout at all. But PennDOT said, listen, you guys are busy. We know that four-way stop sign up at Manitou, that's a bad intersection for us. I said, yeah, it slows everything down, especially if Spirit comes in. And they're putting 150 people into the terminal building. Mm-hmm. So now you got 150 people trying to get home, and probably 80% of them are trying to get to Route 30. With that roundabout put in, now it's kind of comical. I mean, it's kind of funny. When it was first put in, I sat there at the edge of the parking lot at the airport and watched people what the reaction was, because I wanted to see what it was like. Some people kept going around in circles,
Right.
never coming out of the roundabout. Some people,
was that like vacation? Big Ben, hey, look.
some people stopped in the middle of the roundabout, which made everyone else mad that was trying to use the roundabout. But now it's starting to become very common. But with that being said, that whole project from Palmer Drive out to the industrial park, which, the industrial park's it's not part of the airport, but it's part of the development of the county. You're talking $25 million project, road project. All that money was invested, and, you can say what you want. You go after a tip program, you do this, you do that, you put all your ducks in a row. Well, this one popped up and they said, we got to do this. So now we're going to have 3 lanes straight to the airport entrance. The roundabout people are getting used to it.
Right.
They think they're in NASCAR, they're out there. But it's a situation where you don't know what you have until you have it. So,
Well, I think the year-long and maybe decade-long and multiple decade-long impact of the airport is helping all of Westmoreland County. But you need to make sure that you guys are promoting the airport, and one of the ways that you're promoting the airport is through the air show, the Shop and Save Westmoreland County Airshow. It's going to be held on Saturday, July 28th and Sunday, July 29th. Let's walk through some of the highlights of the air show. First off, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds, right? And that's...
Yeah, they're the best in the business.
Right.
I mean, they do a wonderful job. And if the Blue Angels was here, I'd tell you they're the best in the business. But no, it's they're the military. They're active military. They're proud to be out in the country doing this, showing kids what it's like to be part of the Air Force. Very high patriotic, and them and the Golden Knights. I mean, the Golden Knights are a parachute jump team, and those are mostly Army Rangers. Most of your Air Force are officers in the Air Force. But it's a situation where when they come out and they start doing their thing and they're doing their walk downs and their snap salutes and everything, I mean, it's just impressive.
That's why you need to be on the site at the
That's
airport,
right.
because you don't want to sit in on your lawn chair.
That's right.
You get that firsthand experience when you're actually on site at the airport.
Yeah, I'm very proud. I was never in the service, but I served 40 years in the fire department, which is sort of a paramilitary type organization. And it's a situation where when they start doing that stuff, it just brings tears to your eyes.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I watched the Raptor do its routine. We don't have it this year, but I watched it, and there was a gentleman sitting next to me named Mr. Arnold Palmer. And
Who was that? Yeah.
he said, Gabe, he said, do you mind if I sit here and watch the Raptor perform with you? And I'm thinking to myself, what an honor it is to have that man. And he's watching this Raptor do his routine. He said, you know what? I learned to fly many years ago, and they told me an airplane wouldn't do any of that stuff. And I said, well, things changed, Mr. Palmer. And it's so many good memories. Yeah, there's some bad ones. There's some, you have accidents. You have things that go on during air shows, but you just try to be as careful as you can. You be as hospitable as you can to everybody and treat everybody like they're your grandmother. Mm-hmm. And the guys love doing it, the girls love doing it, and it gets to be a pain. Sometimes, you get people that want to take advantage, but it's such a good experience all the way around. We're very proud of it.
And, hey, bottom line, there's food there, right?
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
There's food there.
Yeah.
Hey,
D'Annunzio's, they do a good job. I mean, they do all the catering for the show, and we even have little personal air conditioners this year.
Nice.
We've suffered through some pretty heavy heat this year so far, and we have little water bottles with sprayers and a little fan in them that you can cool yourself down with, and they're for sale at the information booth. But we put up misting stations. The fire department will be there. Mutual aid ambulance service, they provide absolute excellent service. And we do all the things that we need to do, and it's not a cheap thing. It's a $300,000 outlay to hope for sunny weather for 2 days.
I think we need to walk through some of the details for the listeners, because they're excited to be there, and if they want to jump on, they can jump on the website at palmerairport.com. That's palmerairport.com to learn a little bit more about the air show. But Gabe, what time do the gates open? How much is it to attend? Are there special costs for the kids? Are there VIP options? Let's walk through some of those things.
Okay, the gates will open at 8 a.m., so that's both days. It's the same show both days.
Okay.
As far as the cost is, you can get your tickets now at any Shop and Save in the region and save $8 per ticket. I mean, that's quite a windfall if a family's coming. And that's just on a general admission ticket. We have parking on the field. We do charge $5 for parking, but all those proceeds go to the fire departments. As far as VIPs are concerned, we do have VIP tickets available, and they're provide everything you'd want: food, a tent to sit under, a chair, limousine service from the parking lot. I mean, it is first-class service, and the food is catered by D'Annunzio. Any soft drink that you want, you're on your own for your wine and your beer, Chad.
Okay.
And
so I can bring my BYOB. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, we'd hope that you'd buy it. But anyhow, it's a situation where, that's a good question. Do we allow coolers? No.
Okay.
No
coolers, no back. No,
if they're coolers to put water in to keep your kids cooled down, I'll turn my head.
Yeah,
it'd be reasonable. And but we'd hope that you'd at least take an effort to go.
Well, that's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do. It's a cheap date.
Yeah,
and it's an all-day affair, and we're, like I said, we're very proud.
I know one of the things that my kids are going to ask. We just got a puppy last year. Can I bring my pet?
We discourage it. No pets. No
all right.
Pets.
And can I bring the lawn chair if I'm coming in as just a general admission seat?
There's two different places. If you want to be on a tarmac right in front of where the Thunderbirds park, yes, bring a lawn chair.
Okay.
By all means, we're not going to stop you. We'll check it. We'll make sure that everything is good. But we also have theater-type lawn seating. It's actually a taxiway, the edge of the taxiway out at the end of the field. If you bring a nice blanket, it's a perfect place to watch a show from.
Oh, nice.
And it's a little bit cooler because you're on the grass instead of being in the tarmac.
Well, you played in the Chambers golf outing this year. We gave those blankets, and they had speakers in them too, so you can listen. Well, that's one of the questions. Is there a play-by-play, somebody who announces what's going on?
We have a professional air show announcer. He'll be talking about the air show throughout the day. He'll be playing some polkas in the morning, keep our guys all geared up for what they have to do throughout the day. They play music between the show, but he also narrates all the sponsors. We have a